All right, today we are diving into a topic that is, without a doubt, reshaping our world: global migration. And look, this is about so much more than just the headlines you see every day. It's this huge, complicated story about economics, about politics, and most importantly, about real human lives. So, let's get into it and unpack this challenge.
And this question right here, it gets straight to the heart of the entire debate. Depending on who you ask, immigration is either this vital lifeline, the thing that keeps aging societies and economies afloat, or it's a strain so intense that it's pushing local communities to their absolute breaking point. The truth, as we're going to see, is way, way more complicated than either of those extremes.
So, yeah, the movement of people across borders has absolutely ramped up in the 21st century. But why? Why now? Well, the core reasons are often things like conflict and just profound economic instability. As our source material points out, this isn't some casual choice people are making. We're talking about millions leaving their homes out of sheer desperation, just searching for basic safety and a chance to build a life. And this massive movement, well, it creates an incredibly complex situation for developed nations, and really sparks this intense debate about how to handle it all.
And it is so crucial to remember the human beings behind all the data and the politics. People aren't arriving at borders as statistics. They are individuals who are, as our source material puts it, often exhausted and traumatized. They're looking for refuge, really, a safe harbor from whatever storm they've just escaped.
Okay, so this brings us right to the first major battleground in this debate: the economy. The economic impact of migration, it's truly a classic double-edged sword. Let's really break down both sides of this.
Okay, so here you can see these two conflicting truths sitting right next to each other. On one hand, you've got a lot of developed countries with aging populations and, frankly, shrinking workforces. They have this critical need for people to fill essential jobs that locals might not want to do, everything from farming to taking care of the elderly. But then on the other hand, a sudden wave of new people can put some serious pressure on public services like schools, healthcare, you name it. And when housing prices start to skyrocket, that can create very real friction in local communities.
And let's be really clear about what's at stake here. This isn't just about convenience. For many, it's about pure necessity. The source says it pretty bluntly. Without the labor force that immigrants provide, whole sectors of the economy could just collapse. Many businesses would simply go bankrupt. That's a powerful statement about just how dependent these economies have become.
But at the same time, we absolutely have to acknowledge the very real anxieties that host communities can feel. When people see their towns changing really fast and they feel that squeeze on resources they've always counted on, it's pretty natural for them to feel concerned, or maybe even threatened. This isn't just about spreadsheets and economics. It's about a feeling of community and stability.
And that feeling? That leads us directly to our next big piece of the puzzle: social integration. Because it's one thing to manage the numbers on a balance sheet, but it's a whole other challenge to try and weave new cultures, new languages, and new traditions into the existing fabric of a country.
And here again, we see this really delicate balance. Look, immigrants are not blank slates, right? They bring these vibrant cultures and traditions with them that can really deeply enrich a society. But if that whole integration process isn't handled well, it can definitely lead to friction. Newcomers might end up living in isolated communities, language barriers can create these invisible walls, and sometimes, let's be honest, the host society itself can be pretty reluctant to adapt.
So what's the bottom line here? It's this: integration is not a one-way street. It's not just on the immigrants to change everything about themselves. As the source highlights, it takes a real, genuine effort from both sides. The host nation has to be willing to keep the door open, and newcomers have to be willing to engage with their new home. It is absolutely a shared responsibility.
So let's move on to our final section, and you'll see how this all connects. Because, trying to manage all the economic and social challenges right at the border, that's really just dealing with a symptom. To have any chance of understanding this issue, you've got to look way beyond the border to find the root causes.
This, right here, gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Building walls, creating new border policies, a lot of the time, that's just a reaction. The real story, the one that actually matters, starts thousands of miles away, long before a single person ever gets near a border crossing.
So here's the chain of events, laid out pretty clearly. Step 1. It all starts when the global community fails to deal with the root causes of why people leave their homes in the first place. Things like war, deep poverty, and political chaos. Step 2. Because of that, millions of people are forced to flee.
And step 3, this massive movement becomes this profound, ongoing test for the rest of the world, a test to both our practical problem-solving and our basic sense of humanity.
And this really points to the only true long-term solution there is. This flow of people, driven by desperation, is going to continue until the world is a place where people can actually stay in their own homelands and feel safe, secure, and able to build a decent life for themselves. That, right there, is the ultimate goal.
So in the end, we're left with this enormous, profound question. How do we, as a global community, find the balance between our need to maintain social order and the fundamental human dignity of every single person who's just searching for a better life? There are no easy answers here, not a single one. But how we choose to answer this question, that will, without a doubt, define the legacy of our time.